Welcome back, everybody, to the Jurassic Park Podcast, and this is going to be our look at Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, Season 2, Episode 1, Cause and Effect. I am Brad Jost, and today I have with me my co-host for these segments, Tom Jurassic. What is going on, dude? Are you excited to talk about Episode 1 in full spoiler, context, and detail? Give me your thoughts.
I am so ready to talk about it, Brad, but I'm slightly confused. Why have you introduced this as the Jurassic Park podcast where we were going to call it Titan Watch? I thought that was the thing.
Are we changing the name? Yeah, let me hold on, let me change all the graphics on this video and the branding. No. we should have like a subtitle, so we'll go with Titan Watch. That's a good idea. I like that.
I've literally said that because it appears in this episode.
Does it? I forget. But we're gonna go through all of those notes, like we were setting up before we started recording. We have full notes of all these episodes, and we're going to be running through
I have 877 words.
I don't know how to check that on my end, but I'll try to do that and figure that out as time goes by. But I've got a lot of notes. You've got a lot of notes. We're going to go bullet point by bullet point and kind of discuss each scene and or major points and stuff. So this is what we did the first season, and I think we had a great time doing that, and there's a lot to discuss, so I do want to get right into it. But again, this will be full spoiler content for this episode, so if you've not seen this episode yet, please go watch Cause and Effect. You can find that on Apple TV, and yeah, it's a great episode, man. What's your let's see. We can start here right at the very beginning of the episode, which is something that I alluded to a little bit with the non-spoiler kind of conversation that we had, was that I didn't catch up on anything. I didn't rewatch anything. This show gets you right into that moment from the end of season 1. As soon as it starts, Kong is going ape, wild, we'll say, and he's running amok in this little facility. People are running all over the place, and it's just, I think, an incredible, like, when I'm watching television, I don't expect to see this caliber of work being done, and it's just wild. Never thought in a million years I'd be watching King Kong here on TV on Skull Island in this way. It's too darn cool.
Dude, it is so awesome. I mean, the opening picks up exactly where we've left off. So it is Kong basically going rampant after they've used the device to open the Axis Mundi portal, or the Rift, as it's called. And I think it's really cool that immediately there's a couple of details. So the first is Apex and Monarch working together using similar equipment. It immediately sets that kind of juxtaposition and that sort of tension that is going to be part of this season, and it's going to be part of the season coming into it. But also I really like that there's subtle foreshadowing here. Like, we have Skull Island very, very stormy, and that feels like a deliberate reference to the fact that we know that eventually the island is stuck in a kind of permanent storm. So I like how you're kind of seeing the little tidbits hinting at that here. But also, they go and get in Monarch helicopters, and then you have a shot that feels shot for shot like something out of Kong Skull Island, with Kong looking through the windscreen of the helicopter as they're taking off, and then you cut into the titles, and that just felt so much like the films that immediately I was like, cool, okay, we're in for a good ride.
Dude, as soon as they're in helicopters, I'm like, that's going to be a bad idea. And what's her name?
I had Bad Moon Rising in the back of my head.
One of the Kirbys in the background. What's a bad idea? Getting in that chopper, dude. It's a horrible idea. Kong hates choppers, dude. First thing you should know, don't get in one next to him. But that visual of him right through the window there, that I was having nightmares and flashbacks of being a child and going on the Universal Tram Tour or Confrontation in Florida. There was moments when I was a kid where I thought Kong was gonna kill my family on a theme park attraction, dude. And that was that moment right there. It's brutal, dude. When you're 3 years old, like on one of those rides, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely getting eaten. So that's the feeling. I was flashing right back to childhood with that opening scene. It was very cool.
And then I think what I love about that is you kind of keep the pace up going into the title sequence, because the title sequence gives you a hint at Skull Island. I think Titan Watch possibly appears during that sequence as well, or it's on one of the screens afterwards. But you also get fun little nods, like we were talking about off air. They use a classic Godzilla silhouette on one of the like emergency symbols, and it's
Yeah.
just little things where you can tell that like any kind of IP holder, right, could come in, they could talk to Toho, they could buy the Godzilla IP to work with, and then just do their own thing with it. But I really feel like you get a sense that Legacy actually care about this IP, and they do try and put little nods in there for fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the visual style of the opening sequence. I wasn't sure, and I still haven't confirmed this. Maybe you've identified anything here, but is the score like any different at all, or do they do the exact same? Is it the exact same title score?
I think it's the exact same title score, but
okay.
the screens are entirely different.
Everything you see is visually different, and still just so darn cool. This franchise excels at telling so much story through their title sequences and their credits and things like that. So,
dude, like my favorite shot in the title sequence, it's such a weird reference, right? But it's the shot of the shoulder patches, and you've got one soldier's arm that's got the Monarch patch on it, and then there's another soldier's arm that's got the Apex patch, and I just not that patch. I was telling Brad off air, that's a patch. Too big. For anyone who can't see it, it says Monarch Janjira Research Facility. It's a patch to go on my tactical vest. But no, I love that the way they're stood side by side conveys the fact that Monarch and Apex are two sides of the same coin. I think it's such a cool piece of symbolism, and you kind of see that throughout.
I want to.
Brad's now like, oh, this has gone so much deeper than a simple patch joke. What do I respond with?
I have no idea. I'm just gonna move on because I'm distracted myself. One thing that we don't really get to take a lot of stock in after season 1 is the fact that like it's 2 years later after the majority of the current timeline in season 1, and that, you know, some of the people, I think it was just like it was May and Kate and Lee went into the Axis Mundi at the end of that season. And when they came back, like everybody, Kentaro, I guess, and Tim, and like, was there anybody else waiting for them? You know, they were waiting
Brenda.
for 2 years. Brenda, they were waiting for 2 years, like for them to get through this portal, to do the work necessary to get them out. And that's something we don't really get to contend with too much until now, when like, and honestly, like throughout this show, I kind of forget that is happening, because it's not only that, but there's also the Keiko of it all, right? She was in there for a short period of time in the Axis Mundi, and it's been only a handful of weeks or whatever for her from her life. Like she's no time really has passed at all for her. So when she wakes up in this like Monarch facility or wherever it was, maybe Apex, I'm not sure, but no, they're on the outpost.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna I mean, so we'll talk about that now. So I love it because it feels so much akin to the design language of Monarch, where obviously we know. I don't know if at this point in time Monarch has got the USS Argo up and running, but we know that Monarch has got a lot of advanced technology. And what we find out here is that Monarch Outpost 18 is and I've written down the exact name, it's a seaborne command and control platform. So I find that so fascinating, because up until this point, we thought that all of the outposts were static, and they've always been presented as static on the world map in like the viral marketing and that kind of thing. But actually, how cool is the idea that maybe there are some Titans that have got movement patterns or things that Monarch are tracking, and there are like larger I suppose, outposts that are mobile as well. Like, you know, my brain immediately thinks like a massive earth crawler that's an outpost as well, or something like that. I just
Mm.
think it's such a cool evolution on the outpost concept that also really communicates how technologically advanced Monarch are, because it's not like a traditional battleship. It feels so much more advanced.
No, yeah, it feels very advanced. I love that like control center area that they
Yeah.
have in there. And it feels like the precursor to like their flying Argo ship. Like
Yes.
it's such a cool advancement. And yeah, they've got to be able to keep tabs on different kinds of creatures. There's earthbound, like walking mountainous ones. There's Godzilla that, that's your priority, right? And where's Godzilla hang
Yeah.
out? The water. So like let's
Yeah.
have this massive ship.
So what I absolutely love about that is we get a reference later in this episode, but in the same space. So this is kind of like the Monarch Command Center, right? They talk about specifically the worldwide G Task Force satellite system or satellite platform. So that's the platform they've put in place to track the Titans, and the G Task Force are the soldiers in King of the Monsters. So that's their special patch they've got where they're part of the G Task Force. So I just think it's so cool that they're like connecting that up as well and saying to us, look, that like this task force that was formed because of Godzilla exists at this point in the timeline. They're not just a new thing in King of the Monsters. They've actually been around for a little while.
See, that's why we have you here to talk about this, because like you're picking up on patches and things that I could never. So I appreciate that look, dude. That's deep. But this facility, it's where Keiko wakes up and she's very confused, and
Yeah.
Hiroshi, her son, which is like, it's just mind-boggling. Like this show is so cool that it has a mother who's however old, and then a son who's definitely older than her, and like when she left he was like a certain amount of years old, and now he's this. It's just like crazy. Like I love this juxtaposition of the past and the present coming to a head here.
Yeah.
And having that dynamic to kind of play off of. But there was one comment here, I think made from Tim in a minute here, that I was like cracking up about. He mentions that something has Kong and all of the other creatures on Skull Island frothy.
Riled up. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I thought that was funny. Yeah, and
Good old Tim.
that was frothy. They're still out on the outskirts of Skull Island there, kind of posted up in Outpost 18, and just not making any moves just yet. But it's a very cool ship, and cool way to find Keiko awoken here with her son.
I think to your point with Keiko as well, they do something really interesting where she's kind of quite physically dizzy and she's struggling to adapt to the environment on the ship. And there's a really small line of dialogue where they say that what she's experiencing is like what a diver experiences. So obviously when you get the bends, if you come up from water too quickly with like that oxygen poisoning, I think it is. And I found that such a cool little detail that instantly made me so much more grounded in this than any other world. Because if I think about something like Stargate, for example, I don't know if that's something they ever thought about. Like, what is the physical impact on the human body of going through this wormhole and coming back? It might be something they've explored in an episode. I don't know. I can't remember. But I just think it's something that a lot of science fiction doesn't touch on. So it's really cool to see them doing that here to make it feel more grounded.
Yeah, it's kind of it's different, but it's reminding me of like Tony Stark going into that portal, and throwing the nuke in there, and then when he comes back, he becomes like a drunk, I guess, at that point. But like, that's and I love that. I wrote down that diver comment as well, and Kate's like, I think she needs Lee, so she needs that connection to her past, and in order to, kind of like coming out of a coma, like you kind of have to get somebody there to connect with in that way.
can we just appreciate a really cool piece of visual foreshadowing as well? So
Yeah.
once they're back on Outpost 18, there's kind of some shots of them just out on the water with the storm. And the storm, you've got yellow lightning in it. And I'm convinced that they used very similar visuals to what they used for the Ghidorah storm in King of the Monsters. Like it felt like it was such a callback to it, because I
Yeah, I can see that.
immediately was thinking of the scene where the Argo like flies into the storm. It just felt so similar to it.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I feel like I feel like King of the Monsters is still my favorite one of all of them, and I can't help
Yes,
but like
same actually.
refer to that movie all the time about how cool
Yeah,
and like how they advanced everything, and it just man, it's so good. It's visually stunning, and I feel like it's such a model for what this show is. So
yeah,
I can't wait to get to that point in time. But yeah, so let's go back to the past a little bit, because we finally find
yeah,
the original versions of these characters. We've got Bill, we've got Keiko and Lee. They're on a small boat, and they're out there looking for sea creatures. So they're kind of setting that stage about the, hey, we've got in the future, we've got this Outpost 18, which is nice. And now in the past, we've just
yeah.
got this little tiny little boat that we're looking for sea creatures. They get dropped off in this small fishing village, and you know something is amiss here. People are kind of like hiding in their houses, and there is like a local tavern that has like
Yeah,
a strange, like, kind of looks like a a horseshoe crab, I think, something along those lines.
yeah,
Just like a bigger one, and Bill, being Bill, Bill Randa, he wants to catalog
yeah.
everything, and he tries to take a
This is
picture of
like
it, and
me
the
with
locals
my
get
camera, to be
angry.
fair. Yeah. It's
It's
like
like
getting
me
your
at Toy
camera out in a
Fair.
part of town where people don't want photographs, and you're like, oh, okay.
I quite literally felt like Bill at New York Toy Fair. There's many times where like you're not allowed. There was something Jurassic related that
Yeah.
I was like not allowed to take a picture of, but my hand was like going towards my phone, dude. I was like, oh, I luckily read the sign before I pulled my phone out.
Yeah.
But Bill did not get that warning. He is kind of aloof to the entire situation. Read the room, dude. I think Lee says that, like, so he gets
Quite
into a little
literally the
argument
room.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it sets
Yeah,
a
no,
stage for what's going to become, I think, a interesting part of this show, at least.
yeah. Yeah, and I think subtly, again, like at this point, so at this point in the episode, we don't, obviously from the promotional material, we know that we're dealing with an aquatic threat, but at this point in the
Yeah.
episode, you don't know that it's an aquatic threat. So I thought it was interesting that in this moment, it is like an old fish bar basically. So it's kind of
Mm.
like you're saying, hinting at the ecosystem in the local area, which was quite cool. And I just think again, what I wrote down here is locations are stunning. Like the places where they chose to shoot this, the kind of location here in the past is a really, really beautiful part of the country, or part of the world
Mm.
even. It felt to me a little bit like Thailand a lot actually throughout this show, and it wasn't. I think a lot of this production was helmed in Australia for season 2,
Oh,
but it
wow.
almost
Okay.
feels like you have the kind of like the long reeds and things that you'd associate with grass paddies and like that kind of thing, rice paddies even. So it was just really beautiful location. And
Yeah, yeah.
also, actually, now I say it, kind of a location that again feels very appropriate for the time. Like it feels very familiar to what you would see in Kong Skull Island, for example.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's where like uh Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson like kind of meet up in a way. It kind of looks very
Yeah,
similar to that iconography. So yeah. But yeah, let's go to there's some other things. Kate and Kentaro have like a little
yeah,
chat, but there's I think throughout this episode there's like flashes of Axis Mundi, and you don't really
yeah,
know what's the plan just yet, but like you see Lee falling to the ground and the pod is leaving. So I like that you're getting that
yeah,
nice like flashback to the end of season 1. You're getting to see like what happens to
yeah.
him directly. So that was cool,
And
but
I
not
think
much
they
happens there just yet.
reference that there is a line, I'm sure, which references how it's a little bit ridiculous that he survived, where they're like, oh, he fell 100 foot, and then I think somebody else goes, well, things work differently in Axis Mundi.
Yeah, I was trying to like pay attention. It was hard to really tell how far he could have fallen or what could have
Yeah.
happened there, but you know, I was like, I believe it. I'm glad he's still there. I like to see him. That's good.
Yeah, and honestly, an absolutely phenomenal actor for this show.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
they
just
they literally like we've seen you know, his son. I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but like we've seen him
Wyatt.
in
Yeah,
yeah, Wyatt. Yeah, we've seen him in a lot of stuff where he's likable, he's not likable. We've seen
that's
him in the
Captain
same.
America.
Yeah, he's he's likable and dislikable in the same role a lot of times. But
Yeah,
having him and his dad be the same person, just again, it's genius
yeah,
work.
it
Whoever
really
decided
is.
that, like, man, it is. And the fact that they both signed on to it, they're both willing to do that. It's fantastic. But
It
yeah, we
must
go.
be so nice for their like relationship as well to be able to work together so intensely on a character together.
I hope so. I hope that works well for them, and
Yeah,
it's not
it's
like
not the
causing
other
them
way.
to butt heads or
Yeah,
something. Yeah. But we flash forward again to the future, and like you said, Keiko needs some time to acclimate.
yeah.
Brenda, who this is like
Yes.
there's some characters in this show, and I feel like I had this same issue with season one where like I'd never caught like what their names were initially.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a character that I'm like, oh, who is this person? Who's that
I
person?
made
So
a point of writing all of the names as we went along.
yeah.
I feel like I know the conversation that you're referencing. So she has a conversation with May, in like
Or Cora,
the
depending on who you're talking to.
yeah, or Cora, depending on who it is. Yeah, but she has she has a couple of interesting lines. The first is hers, and then the second is a line that May says about her once Brenda leaves the ship. So basically, you get the scene with Brenda, and then she leaves the ship, and May and Kate have a discussion about that. But while May and Brenda are talking, she says Apex is on the cusp of figuring out how to live with these Titans. So I immediately, my alarm bells in my brain are going, oh my god, Jurassic World Dominion, learning to coexist. Like this is the story that we should have had after that film. So I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm liking the cinematic parallels here. I'm really enjoying this. I think it's a cool way of seeing her warped perspective on it as well, because obviously having seen Godzilla vs. Kong, we already know that Apex ain't the good guys. But it's interesting getting to see her perspective and what she thinks they're trying to achieve. But also, what is very telling is when she leaves, May then says to Kate that she's trying to crawl her way back into Walter Simmons' good graces on the back of my work. And obviously, Walter Simmons is the owner of Apex, who we see in Godzilla vs. Kong. He gets name dropped in season 1 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters.
Yeah.
So I like that he immediately feels like a shadowy presence here again. Like the way I would perceive Walter Simmons is it almost feels like they're giving him the Palpatine treatment, where in say Bad Batch, but like Bad Batch, for example, you hear references to the Emperor all the time. You don't actually see him apart from the first episode, but you know that he's there as that kind of overshadowing force. And I like that Simmons has become that for Apex.
Yeah. Yeah, and Brenda says at one point that May / Cora, she's calling her Cora, everybody else calls her May,
Yeah.
that she is the key, like, to stopping G-Days, which I found was interesting, and that she wants her computer code. So this is kind of part of the story where I was like, I'm forgetting a little bit of these connections, but they've slowly started to come back, and I'm remembering like what their relationship was and stuff. But
I was going to say to you, I have a really funny note after this. I can't remember what it's in context for, but I've literally just written, poor Tim, love how he continues to be an idiot.
Dude, Tim is the best, dude. He is so great. I love Tim. He is awesome, dude. He is so fun. He's so insightful and knowledgeable and so smart. has absolutely no self-esteem whatsoever. He has no
Yeah.
like he does not trust in himself at all. But like, man, is he fun to watch. He's funny, he's relatable. I love the guy. He is great. But at this point, like he's trying to run his operations on the boat there, and we've kind of found out that Kate, does not want to leave Lee, right? So they are having
Yes.
May run some distractions and trying to get Kate and Hiroshi and Kentaro like to gather some supplies so they can go to Skull Island, get the boat ready, stuff like that. So so they're trying to make a
I love
play
how
to go
it's
back.
I really love how it's Kate who is that character as well, because she's the one who in season 1 kind of had the most faith in Lee, whereas obviously some of the others didn't necessarily have as much confidence in what he was doing, or think that he was kind of doing things that were in Monarch's best interest. But also I think it's especially poignant when you think about her connection with Keiko as well.
Yeah. I mean, the connections there are awesome, but like you also have to remember that her and Lee both fell in together, like to Access Mundi.
Yes.
And like, so there's a connection there that's like really strong between them. And, he's the reason she was able to get out. And so she feels like this deep connection there that, I need to go back and I need to go help him. And I feel for that. But back on Skull
Yeah.
Island, dude.
Before we're on Skull Island, dude, so literally coming onto it, I've sent you a photo on Facebook. I don't know if you'll be able to bring it up quickly or not, so don't worry if it's a stress. But so I spoke about in our non-spoiler review some of the cinematography, and the way they go back to Skull Island is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, firstly, even though it isn't the same islands as in Rebirth, it absolutely feels like our Saint Hubert. I think we both messaged each other immediately and were like, this feels like it's the Rebirth Island. But also there is this absolutely stunning shot. There we go. Thank you, Brad. I haven't checked if these shots have an invisible watermark on or something. So if you can see my email address, please don't email me. But you can see it's just stunning. Like that. I think especially where I've got a drone now as well, so I've kind of done some visual photography. Knowing how much of a creative eye you have to get a shot like that, it's just gorgeous. And also the thing with shots like that as well is I think it says so much about why traditional CGI in an era of AI is still so valuable, because presumably that backdrop with those islands and the lighting, etc., I would imagine that's CGI.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would assume so. It's hard to tell, like, where this photo succeeds, where, say, for instance, Rebirth didn't necessarily. Rebirth looks beautiful in a very similar looking, like, we've always said it looks like Skull Island, right? But, like, Rebirth did a lot, dude. They're like, we're going to make this as fantastical looking as possible.
Yeah.
Where this looks much more natural, right?
It's
one
naturally
thing that did bother
beautiful.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one thing that bothered me about this shot, though, is that they've left that boat. Where are they going? Where are they going?
Yeah.
Which direction are they? Why are they walking that way? If you look to the right, there's a pathway kind of more near the boat into the island. I don't really know where they're heading off to in this photo. So I'm like, it just seems weird. It seems like they just shot something and didn't necessarily think where they should be walking.
Yeah,
so that was
I think that's
literally
really valid observation.
One thing I looked at. I was like, that's weird to me. I haven't had that kind of thought at all really with the show, but like that one to me stood out. So that's funny that you have that picture there.
Can we talk about how in this moment as well, when they're going onto the island in the rib, they see the massive crabs on the
Dude, that was my first thought. That was literally what I was going to say.
Yeah. Like, awesome seeing more fauna, but also I didn't even think about it until right now. It's an immediate way of connecting the legacy once again, because we see them in the scene with Bill in season 1. So it's kind of all coming full circle, where they're now going onto the island.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going past one of the things that Billy encountered while he was there.
I didn't even remember that. That's very cool. I just thought they looked awesome. It's like I can't really remember each and every like creature that was ever featured in Skull Island
Yeah.
or any other, shots of Skull Island. So those I was like, dude, those are so sick looking. There's some like pterosaur looking guys flying around. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's
so that they're really cool because when they get into the island, so they have that
dude.
encounter with one in the forest, which is so
Dude,
well handled and like staged.
can
But
I tell you
also,
that is let me
yeah,
interrupt
go
you
for it.
because that scene is the same scene from Rebirth. It's like quite literally when
Yeah,
like whatever his name is relieving himself in the jungle, and
Xavier. Yeah,
you've got a velociraptor down there that gets annihilated by a
yeah,
mutodon. In this case, you've got this pterosaur, like this needle looking pterosaur that like is just flying there and then settles in, and you're afraid of that. But then boom, here
yeah,
comes this rat like pterosaur that has this energy
yeah,
beam of some sort that just annihilates this other pterosaur, and you're like, oh, this place is so dangerous, so
yeah,
dangerous. And I felt that way more than seeing the mutodon versus the velociraptor scene,
yeah.
gotta admit. So it's
It
literally that
really
same
makes
kind of
it
thing.
so much more impactful, doesn't it? And what I really love here is that it gives a sense of diversity to the ecosystem on Skull Island, because this isn't the animal that we see in Kong Skull Island when they're on the boat and they get attacked by them. And it would have
Mm,
been really easy to use the same kind of pterosaur that attacks there with the long teeth. But I think by using a different one, it just gives you a sense of how different this island is. And I really love that. I mean, from the perspective of sort of alternate paleontology, the idea of this island that's had some exposure to the Axis Mundi just evolving in a completely different way
yeah.
is really fascinating. Like, you could happily set an entire 5 season show on Skull Island, and I think it would genuinely be interesting.
Yeah, have it with John C. Riley, and it's just like his
Yeah.
adventures on
It's
on
just
Skull Island.
everything he did in those 30 minutes between putting the book into the water and then getting killed in the boneyard.
He
No, do you know what? Even
no,
even
who
better. Wait, is that not
no,
who?
not him.
No,
No,
no, no,
the
no.
pilot from Skull
Oh my
Island.
god, yes.
Like him, he's
Yes.
got 30 years
Have
or
him
whatever.
go
Like,
back and do helicopter tours. Do helicopter tours. That would be amazing.
no, I want like that. I want us to go all the way back and tell us how he survived on that island for 40, 30, whatever it was. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
moving on.
That would be cool, to be fair. I'd love that. I do want to touch on the fact that it's fun seeing Hiroshi out in the field now. So, whereas beyond this point as well, it's kind of been the crew and him, he's now an integral part of the crew and they're all together, which is quite cool.
Yeah, there's something that happens there that I'll talk about in a future episode. But yeah, it is
Yeah.
nice to see him out and about there. And for all of season one, there was like this contention, I feel like, between a lot of these characters getting like coming together. Like there was not a lot of trust involved in a lot of these people. So, and it's still there, it's still lingering, but like seeing
Yeah.
them all together in this case is nice. Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
on.
So are we going to go back to the past now?
Yes, we're gonna go back to the past, and we're
Cool.
drinking at the bar. We're having a good time. Bill is dancing with the bartender there, and getting some.
Oh,
You know,
Brad, we're drinking at the bar having a good time. It's like Josh and Jen's wedding all over again.
I know. Let's go back. Can we go back? Let's flash back and see what did we talk
Yeah.
about back then. Let me hit the video. No, I've got the video right here. No, but that's what they're doing. And Lee and Keiko are discussing like their lives because there's still this lingering thing there, this missed opportunity. It
And
feels
I
like
really
between the
love
two
the
of them.
tension between them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they play that so well. Bill is just such a sweet
Yeah.
guy. He's a nice guy, and you feel for him, but you also do like Lee like quite a bit. He's a great guy as
Yeah.
well. And Keiko just stuck between them. It's tough. It's tough to watch for
I
sure.
also like I like how it feels really grounded in the sense that,
Hmm.
feelings are often complicated and you can't necessarily help who you get feelings for. And I think it handles that, it handled it really well in the first season. And I think it works really well here in terms of building it, because I was kind of like, okay, are they going to throw away that whole tension between them now? And actually, I wasn't really sure how the flashbacks were going to work in this season. So I'm
Hmm.
really glad that we've still got Keiko, Billy, and Shaw, and also the tension between them.
Yeah, I'm so happy like everybody decided to come back to this show. Like they could have easily just like
Yeah,
abandoned half of these characters if they wanted to, but everybody's there. Nobody's recast or anything like that, so that's nice. But yes,
yeah,
there was that scene in the past. We're going back to Skull Island, and dude, this was great. Like the crew is like, they come across Kong sleeping there.
yeah,
Hey, this is much like Rebirth as well. And they're trying to skirt around Kong as he sleeps. May steps on a twig, and Kong does the whole like
yeah.
roll over thing. And dude, even though I
The
know
Kate,
Kong
I'm going
rolling
to be
over.
honest with you. The Kate fake out was giving me Steve Stranger Things season 5.
Oh yeah, okay. That's what I was gonna say. Like when he rolls over and his hand slams down, I know she's not gonna die in that situation, but like I'm also like, bro, that was scary.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, yeah. Do you
it
know what?
got me.
Actually, in that regard, it's not giving me Stranger Things season 5, Steve. If there was like, if his hand slapped down and then there was a cut to black, then possibly.
That's what this show does very well, gotta say. This show is excellent at the week to week model. Like they are very
Yeah,
good at that. We'll say that. But yeah, so there's that scene that was fun, and I just love like these big, like interacting with these big creatures directly. That is so cool, and that
yeah,
feels very MonsterVerse movie to me. Like, there's many moments throughout the movies where people are getting, like, right up in the monsters' faces, and yeah, this
yeah,
is one of those moments, so love that. Kong sleeping is just iconic. Like, there's many moments of
yeah.
Kong sleeping, I feel like, in these movies, and this one does it well too.
Kong's just a chilled bro. He's just a chill dude.
Yeah, pre-tooth issue, he's
I've
he's
got
a happy
that
guy.
that chill guy meme, the chill guy meme in my head right now, but with Kong instead of what it is.
He's just a chill guy. So back on the ship, Keiko is talking with Tim, and I love this moment. This is like Captain America waking up. It's like she's
Yeah,
she was from the 50s era, or whatever, like that kind of timeline, and I forget exactly what year she disappeared, but when she comes to here, she's like surrounded by stuff she's literally never seen before.
yeah,
It's like tech that she's sitting there wondering, well, how I started this, right? Like this is my baby, but how can I help in this world? Like what
yeah,
use am I when you've got sonar and radar and missiles and all kinds of stuff on this one thing, And Tim is very, oh, this is why I love Tim, is because he's like,
yeah.
he's reassuring her. He's like, you can help
But
like
he's also
return
a Keiko
Monarch.
fanboy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
He's like, this is all you. You did this. You can return it to what it was intended to be. Um,
yeah.
and I love that. I love that. So that he's very
I, yeah,
reinforcing her strong suits and her ability to be there and
yeah.
help.
I really enjoyed that, and I then enjoy how so this rolls straight into a scene with the Dugo, and I
Hmm.
really enjoyed. I'm assuming that's another character whose name you didn't remember, and I then
Oh yeah,
like how.
I remember the name. I remember the name because there's a baseball player with that name that was on the Yankees, but I was like,
Cool.
who is this? I don't know who. I forgot who it
Yeah.
was. But yes, I
I
remember
like
that.
how it rolls into her scene, and she's then a lot more. So basically, the argument becomes that they need to go and save Lee, right? And she is a lot more pragmatic on it, and she's talking about the fact that actually there's more lives that would be put at risk if they were to do that, and it is not the right thing to do. And I kind of like that because I think although you want Lee to be saved, right, you know that Verdugo's right in that instance, and that actually, yes, she is this kind of corporate presentation of Monarch, but she's not wrong in what she's saying.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, it's that kind of like leadership quality that you
Yeah,
want to have, right? You want somebody to be able to make the big
yeah,
choices, and I think like it sucks. Like you don't want somebody to tell you
yeah,
that to your face. Like, no, we can't. We just lost like 16 people or whatever it was. I think they said,
yeah.
on at that facility there on Skull Island. We can't do that. We can't
Go
go
more
back
in
and do that
danger.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So yeah.
luckily, Brad, luckily, Verdugo is a responsible decision maker, and I'm sure she is going to carry forward the rest of this story with that same pragmatic decision making.
Yeah, so now we're in the past, and Bill's dancing with this bartender, and she reveals this tattoo,
Yeah,
and basically says like, "I know you're here to find out about this or whatever," and there's not really a lot of context to what the tattoo means for me. So, but she does end up
yeah,
saying like, she says like they worship him, and they will do
yes.
whatever it takes to protect their secret. So she's like quietly
It's
giving this
giving me
information in
major
this
cult
crowded
vibes,
bar.
isn't it?
Dude,
Yeah,
oh my god, yeah, like 100%. I was like, you're in this small village, like, and this
yeah,
everybody in there is staring at you, and you're not supposed to be there, and
yeah.
like it's it's definitely giving something, and the fact that she says like they
Well,
worship him,
yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking
So
cult
I was
vibes here
saying
for
to
sure.
you, I was saying to you before we came on air that I've been playing some of the Resident Evil games, and I've
Mm,
not played Resident Evil Village, but it was giving me like I've seen a lot of gameplay from Village, and it was giving me those kinds of vibes where it's like this shady, isolated location, and there's definitely something going on that isn't quite right.
yeah. So yeah, that's just like a quick sequence there. We also cut back to Skull
Yeah.
Island and we see the crew kind of returning to that Monarch like landing pad.
So I did notice a really cool detail with the arrival point, and I'm not sure if you would have seen it, but in the background there is fencing around the tree line, and the fencing
Yeah.
feels very Jurassic Park.
Dude, there's so much like carnage in that area, so I don't know. I feel like I noticed some fencing down somewhere, but yeah, I didn't notice
Mm.
it being Jurassic Park-esque or not, but nice catch. I
It's like
appreciate that.
very wiry, like the T-Rex paddock fencing.
Yeah. But the people on the ship realize that the others have left for the island and all that. So,
Yeah.
but the people on Skull Island are like, let's let's try to see if we can fix this thing. And the pod thing is there. And again, what was that thing called? Rift. What was it? What would you say it was called?
As in the portal into Access
The
Mundi.
the portal thing,
I'd
like
call
the
it the
thing,
Rift.
the
Yeah.
rift. Okay. And at this
Because I
point,
feel
Kate.
like I feel like in season one they call the like pod thing the Rift entry module or something like that.
Dude, there's like this show is like just incredible for the amount of like terminology that they use for things
Yeah.
that I'm like, and the thing is like, if they call say for instance they call it a rift, they'll also call it three other things at the same time. That I'm like, and
Yeah.
then there's like other people that'll call it other companies, other whatever that call it different things, and I'm like, I'm lost, but like in the best way possible. Um, at this point, Kate is like questioning Hiroshi about why would
Yeah.
you leave
Oh
my
my god.
family? Like,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
this is where the family dynamics really start to play up when people have a moment to
J-
breathe, because so far it's been kind of
Yeah.
nonstop. And, he wasn't thinking. That's like his excuse. It's just like, I just wasn't thinking. It's
So
tough, man.
I
It's tough. And
adore
there's a
this
lot to talk
moment.
about there.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about more in the future,
Yeah.
but it's a great moment.
I think it feels so heartfelt, but also I made a note, and this is what I wrote first time I'm watching it. So this is before I'd seen anything else, so
Mhm.
you can trust that this is as it was. But I
Oh,
just
yeah.
put the theme of not deciding who we love is great because it parallels Keiko Shaw and Billy really well. So I really immediately felt like you're getting this sort of hint that actually Hiroshi's life has followed a very similar path to that of his mum's in the past. And
Mhm.
obviously, his mum isn't as overt with it, or at least up until this point, we haven't seen her be very overt with it. But Hiroshi is kind of all the way down the other end of the spectrum, where he's got an entire secret family and another kid. And I just thought it was a really interesting way of balancing those narrative threads.
Yeah, I mean, there's the stuff that this family, the drama that this family has between them is immense, and they need to figure this out. And unfortunately, they have no time to figure any of this stuff out, and they have to figure it all out on the fly. And it's just not working for them. But we cut back to the past, and the moon is just shining this incredible like halo effect. It's kind of like yellowish or goldish in a way, even, and it's very cool, like this halo around the moon.
I think that was the tattoo. That was the tattoo.
Maybe that was the tattoo.
I think it was. Yeah,
because that bartender actually comes out right at that moment too, and she's been trying to tell them to like get out of here, like don't be involved in this stuff, and you got to go. Like, I feel like when you look around that village and you see the way that they're looking at you, and other people are saying you must leave, like you should go. This is not good for you. Yeah, they've got the opposite like reaction to it, and they're like, we need to stay. We need to see more of this. And they recruit the bartender basically to kind of show them what the village is hiding. So we're going to find out more.
This is very realistic to what would happen, Brad, because as we've seen, again, to reference Stranger Things, when we were told there was no more episode coming, people doubled down in the belief that another episode was coming.
Yeah.
So you tell people one thing and they will do the other. Yeah.
Next, it was the Super Bowl. There's another episode after that, definitely. We're back at Skull Island now, and Kentaro and May are down in the tunnels. And dude, this is like straight up just Jurassic Park here again, trying to get the power back on in the tunnels. This massive lizard-like creature thing, I don't know what it is.
I called it a rat.
Dude, that thing before that shot the laser, I called that like a rat-like creature. So then this thing came down. It looked like a lizard, but it looked also rat-like or something too. Yeah. I don't know what the heck it was, but it was creepy looking, and it came down there trying to find out. They're trying to hide, literally also like Stranger Things in that same moment with the demo dogs. Was it? I forget at that moment, but they were in like a wash, like a laundry room or something like that. So they got their back up against the power.
Coming out of the speakers, but they can't hear it despite being really close to it.
Yeah. So they hide from this thing, and I think it eventually sees them, but somehow Kentaro gets a forklift and smashes the creature against the wall. And I was like, all right, heck yeah, that's a fun, inventive way, at least.
Well, he's had like 2 years working with Monarch at this point, to be fair.
Yeah, true. We get to cut back to Lee Shaw as he's walking through the forest of Axis Mundi, and he comes across this massive warthog-like creature thing covered in branches and stuff. Again, I don't know if we've seen this thing before, but it was so cool, man. This show is great at giving us so many creatures, dude.
This I need to work it out, because I feel like we might have seen it in season 1, or if we didn't see it in season 1, I'm wondering if it's similar to the thing we see in the swamp in Kong Skull Island. Do you know when they're going through the swamp and then it like appears and comes out of it? It looked very similar. Yeah,
it could be the same kind of thing. I don't know, but it looked awesome, whatever it was. And it basically, I think it gets scared away at some point. But yeah, so we cut back. This show does a lot of cutting back and forth. So now we're back to Skull Island.
This I think is my one criticism with this episode, is it does a lot of cutting to and fro to set a lot of balls in motion.
Yeah. So helicopters are flying through the storm now. They're trying to catch up with them.
We get the best line of the entire episode is our boy Tim going, I had a bad experience in a helicopter once.
Oh, yeah.
I was dying. I was like, that's so good.
That was a good comment there. And Hiroshi is down on the island, reluctant to go through with the mission. So they get everything back up and operating, it seems like, but like he's like, I don't want to press that button because what if something else happens? What if something bad happens? So, but yeah, then we cut back to the past again, and the bartender person is leading them through the tunnels, and you've got these crustacean-like things that were in that bar. The one that was in the bar, you've seen them lining the walls as they're going through, and then you see some like cave paintings and stuff like that. And they do mention that the village people wait like year after year for their god to return and like replenish the seas.
Yeah.
So it's setting the backstory and setting part of the context of this creature, which is pretty cool.
The thing I really love here as well is the use of the cave paintings, because that, again, it feels like it harkens back to the end of Kong Skull Island, where you have all of the cave paintings during the Monarch presentation. And I'd be really interested now, actually, to look back at them and see if there's anything that looks similar to this.
Yeah, that's very cool parallel there, and it just makes you wonder because they skip around in the timeline so much, and you come across time periods where nobody has an inkling that these things exist. You know, there's an entire world of people just going about their day having no clue. And then obviously 2014 comes around, and then people are like, wait, what? There's what the Godzilla? What is this? And then wait, there's more? And then by, King of the Monsters, they're literally everywhere around the world and like, moving all around the world and stuff. And it's interesting though that like in the past, in the very, very, very distant past, lots of people knew, and even still in seclusion, people know about these things, and they're unwilling to talk about it. And yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, we're back at Skull Island. Yeah. Kate has now enacted the portal, and the pod flies in. Yeah. I didn't know it was going to be like as simple as that. Like I thought like they were going to have like a mission to go back. They were all going to get in the pod and go back and try to find, like, that's what my imagination was setting up. Like they are all going back in there. We're going to have multiple episodes of them walking through this area. Yeah. And know that the pod just flies in.
It just goes in. Yeah. You're like in your brain is like, okay, this is going to be like finale of a video game level where you've got to get loads of different parts, like in Resident Evil currently. I've got to go all the way through the sewers to get one item, and then I got to go somewhere else to get another, but actually it's just a video game tutorial.
Yep. So back in Access Monday, we see that Lee notices that pod fly in. And dude, there's some stuff going on here now. There's this mountain off in the distance that's just like erupting and crumbling all around him. These crustacean things are flying through the forest, and not flying. I should indicate not flying, because there are creatures that do fly. They are crawling through the forest, and Lee makes his way over to the pod. He's getting like knocked back and forth. He's trying to get there, but he gets in that pod. And the monster that crawls out of this pod, the mountain, and is getting out of there, and eventually goes through the portal. And you're like, oh my god! And dude, Tim again with the genius comments. He's like, oh, that's not going to be good.
Yeah. Tim is just us. Tim is us to a T.
He is so good. Yeah, he's funny.
I love how smart this show is in terms of making it so Titan X comes out of Access Monday, because with all of the promotional material, I was like, okay, there's this massive Titan. Why has this not been an issue before now? But explaining that it's in the Access Monday, so it's not in our world and it's not in the Hollow Earth, is such a smart way of working around it. But also, it now adds even more depth to Access Monday, because we know there's not just fauna from places like Skull Island there. There are actual Titans that live in Access Monday as well.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty awesome and just so cool to watch unfold and just come out of that mountain and just go through there. The crustacean things are attacking Lee in the pod now. Like there's one in the pod with him.
Yeah.
He's getting like bit or something and attacked. It's just not looking good.
Dude, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
disclosure. Like when he was bit, my immediate thought was, "Are we doing a zombie story now?"
Oh man. Well, I'm just like, okay, so he's gonna be toast here. Like this is
Mm,
rough right at the start. I'm like, okay, we got him back for episode 1. I'm grateful. He didn't have a lot of screen time here.
yeah,
But yeah, so he gets attacked in there, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is terrible. And then, dude,
yeah,
massive tentacle. This moment shocked
yeah.
me. Verdugo gets slammed by the tentacle, and
Do
yeah, rough.
literally, I feel like this was them pointing fun at the films because it
Uh-huh.
immediately made me think of Dr. Graham's death in King of the Monsters, where they're all running out of the facility and Ghidorah's like coming out, and then she just randomly gets swiped away to her death before getting onto the helicopter, and like you never hear anything from her, like about her again. That's it. I
Yeah.
really feel like it was a nod to that because I remember when that happened, she had obviously been in Godzilla and she'd been in King of the Monsters quite a bit. So people were like, "Oh, this is a major character. Nothing's going to happen," and then her death is just so unceremonious.
Well, it was giving me, dude, the feeling of Skull Island, where that guy's like, he's tearful,
Yeah,
he's got the grenade, he's or whatever,
yeah,
he's ready to blow up, tail
yeah,
swipe, boom, across the mountain, you're dead, blow
yeah,
up over there. Uh, so let's cut to Lee. He's back in the pod. He is stabbing the
yeah.
creatures like left and right. He's trying to get to his knife and stuff. The pod flies through the portal. Lee has returned. He is back in on Skull Island, and Kong arrives just in time to smash the rift device thing, the portal
Yeah.
device, and then he runs off. And everybody's leaving in their helicopters, and Kong is running underneath the helicopters and does not catch the creature, the big Titan
No,
thing that's out there.
it
So
gets away.
yeah, yep.
I
No,
liked
the
here how
end
you
cut to
see.
credits or whatever.
Yeah, I like how Kong's riled up by the technology as well, because I
Hmm.
think that plays into Godzilla versus Kong when he's really reluctant about going into the Hollow Earth. Or it's not GVK, is it? It's oh, what's the one afterwards? Godzilla versus
Godzilla
Kong,
X
and then
Kong,
it's got
the new
New
Empire.
Empire. Yeah,
Yeah.
Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. In that, when he's really reluctant to go into the Hollow Earth, I think that played
Mhm.
into it really well.
Yeah, maybe. I just like that he's like, "Yo, you can't be doing this." Like he's kind of like
Yeah,
he's like the keeper of peace on this island, and you just opened a
yeah,
massive portal, and these creatures do sense each other, right? Like Godzilla has been known to like he knows when there's another Titan around, he knows where to go and how to find it, and I assume that same thing. Like it's just this weird like sensory thing that maybe these creatures have that they're able
yeah.
to kind of sense other things coming, and he's able to do that. So yeah, he just tried to get it, but dude, I was hoping he would be able to grab it, have a big fight, but no, it gets away. He's roaring, and again with the helicopters, dude, I was like, just get away from this thing in the helicopters. Don't be near him.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see him running underneath the helicopters like that.
Bro, honestly, anytime we saw Godzilla with, or not Godzilla even, we don't see Godzilla. Anytime we saw Kong with a helicopter, I was like, oh my god, this is absolutely mental. Because you see how quickly he destroys them all in
Yeah.
Kong Skull Island. So I was just like,
Hmm.
why is Monarch still using helicopters on this island? What are they thinking?
Did they not like have the intel or anything that he destroyed all
Yeah,
those? I don't know. But yeah, so great episode. I had just like an absolute blast. It's just from start to finish, there's so much excitement, so many incredible, massive Titan like sized moments and small monster moments and the emotion and stuff like that, and catching up with these characters again after 3 years or whatever it's been, and it's very cool to kind of get back into it and and do it in such a great fashion that like they didn't lose a step, dude. I think they maybe even got better somehow.
yeah, I think it was like I say. For me, initially, I felt it was a bit slow, but I think it needed to be to set everything in motion. and it does kind of jump around a lot, but that is because it is preparing the chessboard for what is going to be one almighty game of chess this season.
Well, next time, be sure to tune in for episode 2. We'll be talking all about that one. And until then, Tom, where can people find you to talk about Monarch?
Yeah, you can find me at Tom_Jurassic on Instagram and Twitter, and you can find me at Jurassic Collectibles as well. And I would just like to say, I hope you have enjoyed this completely uncut episode of the podcast, because I absolutely didn't say anything I was meant to, and Brad has not had to edit this at all.
Hopefully I remember. But yeah, go find Tom. Talk about he should make a new. You should make a new one. It's called Tom
Monarch
or
yeah,
Titan or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tom Titan sounds like a very different account.
Could be. It'd be nice for you. Could be worthwhile. Check into it. But find me over here on the Jurassic Park Podcast every other week or so, and find our live streams every week over on YouTube. Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. EST, talking all the latest Jurassic news and things like that. Also over on the Forcecast, talking about Star Wars. We got a new Star Wars movie coming this year to talk about, so check out that podcast. And then my other podcast, Grim Grinning Host, talking about theme parks and everything coming to theme parks, everything related to pop culture and theme parks. So check that one out. And then also Letterboxd, where I'm writing some movie reviews and things like that. So just check out @BradJost. But yeah, go to JurassicParkPodcast.com. Find everything you need for this show and all those other links. But until then, we'll catch you in episode 2. And stay safe, stay Jurassic, be kind, be cool like Tom, and enjoy.
Be very uncool like Tom, yeah.